as your self-perception starts becoming more aligned with truth instead of aligned with whatever messed up version we ended up with in childhood, because childhood really is a very common oven to get our trauma in. And we usually decide that because we know we want to end up here. And so in order to get here, we've got to come into this world and be... I'm Silver, a born clairvoyant, a near-death experiencer, and a women's spiritual coach. I'm here to help you remember that you are your best guru. There are so many people who want to do sessions and they want to talk about how to get clairvoyant or how to get clairaudient. And I want to dial this backwards because there are people like myself and a couple others I know, and I'm sure there are many more I just don't know, but they are born top down. They are born with, in my case, full-on clairvoyance. I was in the crib. I was in my little girl's room. I was like, literally, I hated myself by kindergarten because I was told very clearly, you are never to talk about any of that, and all of it's not true. A friend of mine was born full out a clairaudient, and same thing. She really found herself struggling, and the both of us, honestly, we were like, we had no resources and no one to talk to about it, and that's a pretty hard position when you're small, because your circle of authority is very small. And if none of those people are aligned with you, you have to fill in the blanks with your small person's imagination, and it never goes well. So I hated myself by kindergarten. I was terrified growing up. That is something I believe we choose before we incarnate, because it's a very traumatic existence. And I know maybe it doesn't sound like it, but it was for me. I was seeing things and beings I didn't understand, didn't recognize day and night. Even in school, I'd have to be staring into the teacher's mouth, pay attention, and pretend like, no, the walls are not turning into swimming pools. And that's a specific way of getting what they call, what are called siddhis. And that's SIDDHIS. And the siddhis are results of meditative, yogic, spiritual way of life that typically come at the end as the fruit that is born from all that work. Most people, unless there's a pre-incarnational agreement, you come in and over time and over experience and over learning and integrating different spiritual lessons and learning forgiveness and starting to open your mind and consider or accept what would otherwise be almost laughable. When your mind really starts opening and you really start cleaning out your instrument, so there is no resentment left or distorted kind of fear. And as your self-perception starts becoming more aligned with truth instead of aligned with whatever messed up version we ended up with in childhood, because childhood really is a very common oven to get our trauma in. And we usually decide that because we know we want to end up here. And so in order to get here, we've got to come into this world and be, this sounds perhaps cruel, but it's not. It's our desire. It's all of our doing. We design it. But if I know I want to get to this place, then that means I'm going to have to go through certain contrast, certain hardships that are going to change me to my core. And not everybody gives themselves this kind of task. That's why you could have a best friend who's never really had any major crises in their lives. And you're like, what is wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with either of you. It just depends on what you signed up for in that pre-incarnational group hug where we or I want to explore this theme, you want to explore that theme, and this is how we're going to do it together. And we figure out within our roles who's going to trigger what and so on. But the natural, less painful way to come into a siddhi, which again would be clairvoyance or clairaudience or claircognizance or any one of the clairs, but wide open. Not oh, I just saw a sparkle out of the corner of my eye. You know what I mean? It's boom. The natural way for most people is that rolls in over time, because our guides, and especially our higher selves, they do not want to give us more than we can handle or more than we can wrap our minds around. They do stretching us. But there's a difference between stretching us to our brink and proving and showing ourselves that we are capable and we can handle it. And then there is a difference between that and just snapping us over their leg like a twig. And that's not the purpose. That's really not. And so that's why I work with women, but most women start awakening conscientiously, maybe in their late 20s or 30s or 40s or whatever it is. And it starts at a low level and gradually increases. And as you can tell, that would be the more comfortable and easy way to deal with it. You'd already have solid relationships in place. You'd already have people you could trust. And what I would have done for the internet growing up, you know what I mean? To find out I was not some insane person who just happened to see a whole nother invisible world. That's the way that's best for your nervous system. It just depends on what your priorities were here. And your priorities here are always going to be, when you incarnate on Earth, emotionally focused. So what emotional theme were you looking back? Have you been investigating and having interaction with over and over and over? And eventually the ideal is to get to a place where that emotional theme is neutral. It's become a part of you, but not defining you. That's like the healthiest thing we can do. And Wayne Dyer used to call it emotional alchemy. And he used to say it's the one soul purpose that all of us have. We have many soul purposes. We have no idea how many or which are going to be ignited by the choices we make, but that one we all share. So I love you guys. I'll meet you in the next one. And I'd love for any of you women to join me in Patreon. Take care.